So it's just kind of funny.
We are live. This is going to be a lot of fun. We got my man in the building. We got the wonderful Grace and family in the house. Oh my God, we're going to have a good time. Now, Kimberly's going to be our host today, and she's going to ask you guys wonderful questions. If any of you guys are in the chat and you want to know where Pace is going to be, well, Pace right now, he's having a good time with Day with Pace, which was yesterday. Today, he's doing some more of that. If you see Pace and he's wearing some orange, black, and white Air Jordans, please compliment him. He loves compliments. And if you want to know where Pace is weekly, head over to whereispace.com. Okay, it's a cool website that our superheroes in the office put together. It lets you know where Pace is every single week, what stage he's going to be on, what state he's in, all the good stuff. But without further ado, Kimberly, I'll get out your hair. You guys have a great time.
Thank you, Derek. What's up, you guys? Oh, hey, Derek, just to come back on, we're all compressed now. Okay, I think that's a little bit. You might want to check your configuration better. All right. And this is what I love about the Morby Media team. They are always ready to swoop in. So shout out to the Morby Media team for making it so easy for me to hop on. I'm Kimberly. I'm your live at 5 host. I typically do Tuesdays, but I switched. And now I have the amazing privilege to host some personal friends of mine. So a little bit about myself. I have two sides. My real estate side, I close on single family homes. I consult on projects and Capital Connect on private money lending and all kinds of different things. On my nursepreneur side, I'm a nurse of 22 years, healthcare for 32. I'm also an author. I'm a keynote speaker. I'm a podcast host. I'm a CPR instructor, and I have a ministry here in Southwest Michigan. And today we were just going back and forth, the pronunciation. We have Doron, and then we have, wait, I don't see your guys' Instagrams on there, the handles. I don't see those on Derek. So if you want to pop those on. Anyhow, we have amazing guests. We're going to be talking about creative deals and all things creative. And so welcome, guys. I'm going to start with the ladies because I know you're a gentleman. And so we're gonna learn about our guests today and just a little bit about their background, what they were doing before real estate, all the good stuff. And so ladies, with further ado, welcome to the podcast. I'm glad to have you. And just go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, what you were doing before you got into real estate and all the meaty gems.
Yeah, I mean, I can start us off. First of all, thank you so much for having us. And this is just an amazing group to also pair with you, Doron, and we're just thrilled. So I guess the real estate journey kind of starts maybe around Thanksgiving of last year. I guess in the case of Sub2, I know that you probably found him. Or do you want to tell me how you found him?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Online.
With
and
then
referral though.
Someone's like, oh my gosh, check out this guy named Pace Morby. It's amazing. She starts sending me YouTube videos, and I was like, first of all, real estate is amazing, but is this like actually legal? Like, is this like legitimate? Like, what is going on? Got those questions answered. I was like, we are going full steam ahead. We've had probably an entrepreneur background for at least the last 10, maybe 15 years. I know our lives were changed by, mom had small businesses who brought us into personal development events, which just changed the trajectory of our entire families. I know I was probably, maybe 8 or 9 years old when I started going. And I think I sometimes step back, I'm like, okay, what did I get from that? Like, what lessons are still in my mind? And I would just say big picture wise, it just exposed me to a higher way of life, that if I don't have to go to college if I don't want to, I don't have to get just a regular job if I don't want to, I don't just have to look for the weekends. Like, and as an 8-year-old, that didn't really hit, but as I started getting older and into high school and all my friends were asking questions, I just said, I don't see myself taking the regular route. So I know that I did different things growing up. My sister and I started a little bakery business when we were probably, I was probably like maybe 14 or 15. She was maybe like 12 or 13 years old. We were like the OG capital raisers back then. We raised about 10 grand for a non-for-profit building houses in Nicaragua. It's set in my mind of like, okay, like these lessons that I've learned can not only bring in money, but they can change lives. And so just having that philanthropic, I always feel like I say that word, philanthropic, thank you, heart has just transformed me. Like, as long as, your needs can be met at the end of the day, but when you start stepping out, and I'm sure, Doron, you can probably attest to this, but like when you start seeing other people's lives changed, all of a sudden you can't work hard enough for somebody else. So that bakery business. I did some freelance work. I did a little bit
How
of.
old are you? I'm so sorry. I have to. I'm burning here. Like my
I
seat's on
know.
fire. How old are you with these mind blowing like fundamental truths? Please tell me.
I am 21 years old.
Just turned
I
21.
just back in July.
turned 21 in July.
People all their lives didn't figure out what she did like
Right.
at a young age. This is insane. She's a
It
serialpreneur, right? That's how you say. I don't want to kill it. I'm so sorry. I had to ask. This is insane. Wow.
I kind of
So
feel
much
like
wisdom.
I feel like as a mom, like my job here is done.
Seriously, like, I was,
That's your
like,
exit
literally-
strategy.
Wow, that's amazing. I'm sorry. Please continue. I just had to ask.
Really good. Thank you. And then
Blow me away. Yeah.
So the real estate stuff.
The real
if we
estate
go back
stuff,
into
yes.
that. So I've been in real estate since the 90s. And what's really ironic is I bought my first condo in college, seller finance, and turned around and sold it in 2 years when I graduated, made a $40,000 profit, I was pre-med. Actually, I wanted to be a veterinarian. And then I decided I didn't want to go on to vet school. And I really loved Chicago. I was moving and shaking in the city. And so I got into retail real estate and never looked back at anything creative, which is like crazy. But, that's a story for a different day. It took me 25 years to come back to it. But in the meantime, I was doing retail real estate. Grace was being carried around in the little pumpkin seat by my male clients. If there wasn't a dude there, I carried her. And I brought them to all my listings and my showings with me until I had my second, and they were a little bit older and they were a little rambunctious. And so we had, maybe, being in this $1.2 million condo on the drive, like, and they're like hopping up and down in the back seat, on the cushion, waiting, in between showings. I'm like, okay, I can't be yelling at these little kids. Like, I gotta go. Like, they're gonna have to go do their own thing for a while. I let them rest for a little while and then started dragging them to 3-day business conferences when they were 7 and 10. And yeah, so I hadn't been doing real estate. 2019 was my last sale. We moved about an hour and a half from where we were living, and then starting a new market again, which I had done after we had moved in 2010, after all of that stuff. And that's when I started learning about home businesses. And that's when my life totally changed. Like, when you start, if you want to be an entrepreneur, you got to get your game right. You got to get your head on right. You got to figure out your whys, your purpose. And, it's just, and so I'm still working on that. Oh my gosh. We had a conversation this morning and I'm just like, I'm still messed up, guys. I'm still messed up.
Yeah, I tell my kids also. I mean, mine's not as. My oldest is 14, and she's trying to find her way around the world. And I tell her, listen, Dad is not perfect, but I'm intrigued how she was like alongside of you while you were going through those things, and that's what made her who she is today. It's always fascinating to me that whole concept. I mean, kudos for you, and obviously to her also. But this is an amazing journey, ladies. Wow. I'm moving in my seat. This is amazing.
This makes my heart smile. And that's like so cool to hear your story, because I just met you briefly. So in Chicago through Mary, and Mary's like, hey, do you want to come? I was like, oh, I don't have a place to stay. Well, come stay with me. I'm like, well, perfect. The air show is going on. And then I get to meet you, and we're all like, and this is what community is all about, is collaborating, connecting with one another and building up a community. Like, I'll never forget the first time. I'm going to try to say this without crying, because I've been super emotional with my 49th birthday around the sun. When I first talked with Doron, or all the other fabulous ways you want to pronounce it, I was in a rut. Like, I was in just a couple weeks of just negative, and I have all the grit, my personal story, leaving home very young. I'm an Ironman finisher. I have multiple businesses. Like, I have the mindset that I have, my brain, this 3 pounds of jelly controls everything. And I'm a woman of faith. And so, like, when I was struggling, and I'll never forget that he took the time out to speak with me for, like, I don't know how long we talked, but like, the conversation just was enough to overfill my cup, to be like, okay. And that's what it is. It's not so much your mindset, right? It's just you need other people to bring out the amazingness. And sometimes, because entrepreneurship is really about getting kicked in the teeth and being down, but being able to get up and knowing you can move forward without like stalling, always progressing forward. And we need that. And that's why community is so important, because you can see the overflow with your daughter. Like, hello, right?
Yeah, Rocky said it in his movie. It's not how many times you get knocked out; it's how many times you come right back. Standing up and fighting again. That's how winning is done, right?
Yes, I have that on my door when I walk out. I literally have that on my door. Yes.
That's awesome.
Exactly. Yeah, that's so true. And then to be surrounded by like-minded, amazing individuals will continue to propel you. And you can be a victim or be a victor. And Doron, we'll move down to you because you have an amazing story and it's not for me to tell. So I'll let you share it in the words, but tell us a little bit about your background, what got you into real estate investing, and all the meaty things that we want to hear, because I mean, your story is so inspirational. And I mean, I tear up every time I hear it. You're just an amazing human being. You just give back to the community so much. So thank you for everything that you have done, that you're doing, and that you continue to do. So let's hear your story.
Before I tell my story, more importantly is just to dial in what you said, because you know that about me. I always try to drive value, and I know everyone here also the same. Like you said, not being a victim, complaining, and not being a victim. You just got to remember you have the choice, right? Like you can choose to be a victim, and you can choose not to. And that's a lot of times what people fail to understand. And this is a very important point before I go blabber about myself that I really wanted to get across to your listeners, right? Like life will kick you in the teeth, just like you said, and you will fall on your face many times. And at that point, you have a decision to make. Are you going to cry about it and play the victim, or are you going to choose differently and rise and stand again and maybe make that phone call like you did to somebody else? You like a lifeline that can help you or whatever, get an advice. But don't just, dwell on it. And Pace speaks about, talking about the problem is not going to resolve the problem, right?
Amen.
So too many people are just too busy about the complaining and about talking about the problem. And you have the power to choose differently. And that's exactly what you did. So other than me being proud of you for reaching out, calling and seeking, advice, help, whatever it is, that's really what I want you listeners to get out of this story, is that they have the choice to actually prevail. Choose right? That's all I'm saying. All right. About my story. Well, where do you want me to start? I mean, from be specific. From when I came here, I mean,
very organic and this is not scripted. And so however you want to tell how you arrived here in the U.S., how you got started and realize what you were doing before real estate. I don't know how much you want to, divulge or how much you want to talk about, but just basically a cliff note. If someone handed me a book and said, this is a cliff note version, then what would that look like?
You're such a great host. You see, she knows exactly how to put one on track. Got you. Okay. I came here at 99 by myself with nobody here to aid me, show me the way. I started with no family, no friends in a foreign country, and I needed to figure things out, and I need to figure out things quick because I didn't have a lot of money in my pocket. That's how I started, right? So 5 years, I did everything under the sun. Then I discovered I'm a serialpreneur, like this young lady here, and I kind of tried small businesses and just started to figure things out, the mechanisms, figuring out the mechanism of small businesses. And then I'm like, wow, this is great. Like I love this. Like I can get so creative and I can find so many solutions to so many problems that never stop, right? Like one thing you can bet on when you're a small business owner, you're gonna have a lot of problems you need to solve, right?
Yeah.
So, I just started building companies. I started building companies and selling them, 7-figure companies, and I've done that for about 10 years or so, 12 years maybe. And then I suddenly lost my dad, which really messed with my head. And I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. Now I'm a father of 2. I'm going to have another child. Now I'm a father of 3. I want something else. Thank you. And I'm like, okay, so, I'm fortunate enough to have a good amount of capital, relatively a good amount of capital, and relatively a good amount of knowledge. And I'm like, okay, so now what, right? Like I sold the last company, no game plan. I'm like, okay, so now what, genius, right? So yeah, I'm sitting and I'm thinking, okay, so what's the most I can do with my resources, my knowledge, and my capital, right? And how fast I can actually make things happen, and how I'm not going to waste my time like years and years and years and years and years figuring out things. This is not for me. This is not for me. This is not for me.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, so I wasn't looking at like things in an ROI standpoint, like return on investment. I'm looking at it as an ROT. Like what's the better use of my time? Return on time, right?
That needs to be on a shirt. Take note, Ace Morby. We need to get that on a shirt. Return on your time.
Justin's our t-shirt guy.
Right, there you go.
Yeah. So that's how I looked at it. I'm like, what's the best ROT for me? What's the best return on time for me? Like what's the biggest impact I can make on a shorter amount of time with the amount of knowledge I have, that I gathered between my life experience. I'm on my own since I'm 14. This is a small disclosure, disclaimer, whatever you want to call it. And obviously I went through a lot of falling on my face in a new country, and even before my business, and I never had it easy. So I'm like, okay, how can I just harness that and use the money that I have in the most meaningful way? Multifamily, right? Multifamily is relatively, I always loved business. I always loved the real estate. I always had an eye for it. I always had a passion for it. And I'm like, let's do this. And I just looked at it as a business. I didn't look at it as real estate like most people do.
Makes sense.
And that's kind of what made me, I guess, not fall on my face with no experience, right? That I just looked at it as a breathing, living business, right?
Yeah, I like that. And how you were able to just flip it, drop it like it's hot, like Missy Elliott or whoever that is. And you just use the same base foundational principles to build on another business, coming from like leaving home. Like my background, I left home like around this like 12-ish, 13-ish, and not being that person. Like Mamadou was on a couple of weeks ago, and he came from a different country and started learning real estate in a car. And now he has a wholesaling business that's very successful, taking those experiences and not letting them define you and building off of those. And so that's amazing. And so what kind of businesses were you buying and selling? Just curious, because there's people out there like myself that are interested in buying existing business. Was there like a specific niche that you would rinse and repeat, or did you just build on and scale existing businesses, or did you build these businesses from the ground up and then get a pro forma and then exit them? Like, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, they're all ground up. None of them was an existing brand. I was building brands.
Okay.
And my first one was a carpet cleaning company. Was all in the service areas, service provider sector, right?
Okay.
And then I had a restoration company that when I sold that, I had about 76 employees, did business in about 3 states, catered to about 5.2 million households over 18 counties.
Wow.
So those are the things that I liked. I liked the operationals. I liked the mechanics. I liked the understanding each of those parts, putting them together, see how they work in the most efficient way possible, right? Yeah. So it's just service companies. I never had the luxury of picking up an existing brand, and expanding on it. I was kind of creating everything from scratch.
Wow. And that's a whole other beast, building things from scratch when you have no base foundation and you're building the CRMs and the marketing and the funnels like that. And so, yay, let's go into multifamily.
Yeah. And just to top that off, just like multifamily, just like real estate, just like any business endeavor, you come out maybe beat up a bit, but smarter and wiser than you were coming in. Right. Yes. So as I progressed through, the proof of concept that I had from the first one, I made things better. Right. Like one company I sold had I think 67 or 68 contracts with insurance companies.
Wow.
7 insurance companies nationwide, right? So then okay, what will give you the better multiples, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like so you kind of fine tune the next one a little bit better than you did when you did the one before. It makes
Love
sense,
it.
right?
Oh, yes. You're like buying your liabilities too. Like if you own the multifamily, then you own the property management company and the cleaning service and all the other things. Yeah. And I like that take a base foundation, just like these ladies did. I never know where to point. She was
It's a
like,
mirror, yeah.
right. Yeah. You're basically mirroring and mimicking, and you can take these. And I think that's what sometimes people don't get. You can take and mirror and mimic your other skills in your W-2. Like I was a nurse. People trust me instantly when your life is in my hands. Right. And so I'm taking my negotiating skills when I'm negotiating with a patient, or I'm disagreeing with the surgeon or the doctor, what he's prescribing. So I can take those same skill sets, just like, they did with like their other businesses when you're 8 years old and building an empire, and applying them to real estate. So that's what I love about it. And I think people don't get that you can use your God-given talents for the greater good and just apply it something else. It's yeah, I love it. So cool.
Yeah, and that's what Pace also understands. He's a very smart man, as we all know, and he thinks, okay, what are the things attached to the real estate, right? Like the title, like the insurance, like this, like that, and that's how you basically get right different plays that are attached. It's almost like a shark swimming in the water. You see all these fishes on him, right? So you can attach a lot of small fishes to your shark, right?
Right.
And they can feed off of one another. So whenever the shark eats, as the leftovers, it flies on the fishes, right?
I'll take it.
Yeah, that's
right.
I hope I'm not losing anybody here with
no, that's so good. I totally caught it. I'm like, yeah, that's why we're here. Like Pace is amazing. And
yeah, but you also do business for yourself, so you understand the entire concept of you can literally create a lot of things that will backfeed off of each other, right? And that's kind of where I was able to obviously monetize very well when I build the businesses. I just build it in such a way that people just come evaluation really looked at this as something very, very valuable, right? Yeah,
slightly. I mean, very, very valuable, right? Because I mean, when you can do a kind of roll up like that, and any problem that you can solve, that you can mimic and repeat, and it's Amazon proof, AI proof, recession proof, COVID proof, and you can solve a problem with creative solutions, whether it's real estate or a business. Hello, like there you have it. And I always say, like, solve poor people problems, get poor people profit, solve rich people problems and get rich people profit. So it just depends on if you're going through the profit or philanthropy. Like I use a little bit of both, where I combine my philanthropy with my profit too, because I want one to support the other. So all right, well, let's get started talking about deals. Are you guys seeing the screens going back and forth? That's the first time. Last time we had a huge echo. We all had to get out and come back in, but that's where the Morby Media team totally rocks this. So let's get into the deals. Ladies, tell us about how you found this deal. Just give us a little cliff note about the deal, and you guys can piggyback off how you found it, how you, like, who was involved in it, and all, whatever you want to talk about as far as the deal that got you on here.
She's an acquisition, so she can take us from the beginning.
So cool. I thought I knew it all. I mean, I had mentioned that I'm still working on personal development and all that stuff. When I came into this world of creative finance, I came in it with as a realtor, we are sharks, and you're surrounded by sharks, and not a good shark that's feeding leftovers. And I'm probably stereotyping, but it's a tough business, and you're really trained to not share, not teach. The only person that would kind of teach you and guide you was your broker, because he had when you're brand new, a 50-50 stake in what you make, and then you can work your way up, and now you're his buddy or her buddy because you're making money. But it's a very lonely business unless they're partying. They throw some good parties. But other than the social hour, it's very, you're on your own. I'm not going to teach you how I got these listings. I'm not going to teach you how I bought these properties. I always felt like there was a meeting going on in a room and I wasn't invited. Starting as a younger woman, I wasn't Grace's age by any means, but in the 90s in Chicago, and I don't want to go sexist here, but I'm just telling you, it was full of a lot of men. and older men at that stage, the men that had been in the business, 30, 40, 50 years, and they were owning all these properties, and I just didn't get it. And so I come into Pace's community, and I came in because I love the community. I mean, the first day I joined, I was at family night that night. And I remember somebody had gotten in trouble and Pace rescued her. And he scolded her and he told her where she'd gone wrong. And it was like this emotional thing. And he's like, I'm not going to help you financially. Okay, what are we going to do? Now, first of all, Pace is not giving handouts. Pace was going to make money on this. So he had to process through how is it going to work for him. He's not going to just, so I don't want anybody to think that Pace was giving charity. Pace found a way to, with a business situation, help this young lady. But I just thought, I've never seen anything like this ever. And I want to be part of that. I want this family. And then I went and did it all on my own. I'm just like, I got it. I'm over here. I wasn't going to any meetups. I would go on all the Zooms, but I got it. Right. So, but I already had a website. See, I was doing all the things, and that's when I met you, and we had our meeting, and you were already moving and shaking, and you've already built all these businesses, Doron, and all of this stuff. So I felt very blessed to have these 15-minute meetings that we would have with people that we still do. And Pace stresses that, meet the community. And I'd meet all these people that were so inspiring, but I would still sit in my little corner. And then I said, Grace had been in social media marketing for years. We went to Funnel Hacking Live when she was 14. We've been building funnels. So I said to her, I think you were 14 when we went. Something like that. But anyway, I said, can you build this website for me? I need a website because I can't go to work until I have my website, Oh my word. Just get to work, do the thing, whatever you're avoiding, whatever you're building a website for, whatever you're searching for the perfect CRM for, it's avoiding the work, right? And it was based in fear and this and not knowing what to do. And so Grace says, Mom, I want to do this with you. I was, what? Let's go. And Grace had moved away. So Grace lives in Ohio and I'm in Chicago. So to have her say, Mom, I want to do this with you. I'm like, okay, hard stop, put your name on the website. Let's go. So then we did all the things that wasn't money making, then we started, now we've got somebody to hide from the hard stuff together with. So she's having her 15-minute meetings. I'm having mine. We're making some great connections, but not doing anything. Finally, we decided we need to get on a team. Just long story short, we interviewed quite a few people, signed on right before Squad Up. She wasn't able to go to Squad Up. She had a big event that she was running in Ohio. And then I met members of the team, and then I came on Monday. There were leads loaded up in my CRM, but you don't need a CRM. You totally don't need it.
No, you don't.
You need to get on a team and get a CRM, because that's what I did. Made one call that first day, because the first day was kind of organizing, who is this, what, The second day I made 4 more calls, and my 4th call was a lead out of North Carolina. It was an expired listing. She needed to sell this place. Well, I did understand real estate enough to understand that she was looking at some capital gains things. So I broached that subject. Hey, have you thought about this? And so when she said, okay, yes, that would save taxes and that makes sense. And then her first response to me was, well, I want 20% down and I want blah, 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 $2,000 a month payment. And I'm like, hard stop. This isn't the state. And so we got her locked up. She's super duper happy. And so we got the contract signed on the acquisition side. And the way our team is set up, then we hand it over to our dispo team. Enter Grace. So I handed it over. And she was hired for dispo because of her marketing.
Nice.
They really, when they interviewed both of us, I swear they hired us because of her. They did. They were like, oh, you have marketing? Yeah, you come with us. You can come too.
Important. Like if you can get all the deals you want, but if you can't move them, then that's the problem.
What's it good, right? Yeah, what's it good? I did lock up a good deal with the help of Ted Miller on our team, who's incredible. So because I now have a little piece of paper, and I said this on our podcast with Justin, but I have a piece of paper on one of my computer monitors that says, if the offer isn't so low you're embarrassed, then it's not low enough. because that was a big switch from retail, because
Sure.
you can get I don't know the proper way of saying it, shunned, I guess is a good word, by other realtors. If you're trying to work with an investor and you're making these kind of offers, they're insulted. I'm like, what do you care?
Yeah.
You know, you don't know what your seller wants. And it ended up not being an offer but I would have been scared had I not been coached by somebody in the community or somebody on the team or somebody just helping me through that process. And so locked up an amazing deal, send it over to Dispo.
And we were thrilled. Basically, we put it right on the community first. That's what we do. We want to, any amazing deal that we get, and we're like, put it on the Sub2 Facebook group. Within hours, the lady who ended up closing it or ended up taking the deal, she was at a layover in the airport. Like she wasn't supposed to be there. Scrolling on Facebook.
Layover, they were stranded.
That's right. They were
plane
stranded.
stopped
Yeah,
working.
this plane stopped working. They were on the airplane, had to get back off, but minus all the extra details, she was just on her phone, saw it, called our amazing disposition team, Maricela Hernandez, and I'm forgetting how many calls they had back and forth, that basically they just set the numbers and she's like, we'll take it, basically. So we said on the podcast as well, it's like, it's probably it was a funny one to have for our first deal to close, just because it felt so effortless, except, I mean, of course there was effort, and so many of our team members put in their effort and their time and their energy, but it was like, oh my gosh, somebody like actually wanted this deal. There wasn't an issue with it. Like there wasn't like, there wasn't all these arrears on it. It was great, which we've run into now.
And it was a good deal. Like I sat and thought about what it would look like if I bought it, but I'm just getting started. I don't have the war chest. And that's another thing that you do learn with the community and PACE is like, yeah, go for it, but let's be smart about things. So there's all kinds of things we learn working with people that have gone before us. So we had to say, no, we're not going to buy it. It's North Carolina. Not yet. And so it was a good deal. She did a great job putting out the post. And so now this a lot. She does a lot of Dispo work.
I'm in that Facebook group a lot of like, okay, y'all, we got another one. Who wants it?
Nice. Never underestimate like Facebook. I mean, in Marketplace too. I've wholesaled a couple deals like on Facebook Marketplace. I just locked up another one right before coming on here, and I'm like, oh, I already have a buyer, or maybe I'll take it, right? But it's just like, okay, I just spent like $7,000 an air conditioning unit in North Carolina. Not sure. So yes, people, have your war chest, because if you can't execute your exits and pivot with purpose, as I say, then it becomes a problem. And these are nuances that you learn along the way. But when you're secured with teams like their team, like that's where you always have that safety net. And whose team are you on? Do you want to give a shout out to your team? You give a shout out to Ted and Marcella, I think you said, but whose excellent team are you on?
Justin Simonowski. If you don't know him for some crazy reason, guys, anybody who's watching him, go find him on Instagram, because he is Real Estate Justin or Facebook, because he what was it, Go Giver of the Year?
Yeah, he was last year. He was voted the Go Giver of the Year in the community. We joked about t-shirts earlier. He makes so many t-shirts and sends them over to the community, but his heart is amazing. He's doing a lot of things, and so we're blessed. He's got an amazing team.
He does. Justin Simonowski, leader, and then we mentioned Ted Miller and Andrew Murray, operations. Maricela, who else was involved?
There was a lot of people. Yeah, Justin is the man. He's so good. He's so good. Like, you don't have to be on Justin's team to learn from him, to feel his love.
Yeah. And there's so many other people that emulate too. Like if you reach out to them, like I had a question about land and I contacted this guy and I was like, dude, this is what I'm trying to do. And he helped me solve a problem. And I know how busy he is, but he still had space for me. Or one time that I was like, I think I can get the money, but I want backup to my backup. And you will make these connections along the way, and who like people come to me for care home ministry. Like I just picked up another coaching client for Ironman. You don't know what the conversations are going to lead to. Oftentimes I'll get on a call and I don't ever do deals with people for a year, or I end up teaching CPR, or like I help them write a book, or I do something else. And so that's the beauty about this community, is because if you are like me and you're like a chameleon and you have your hands in all these different pots, you don't know what it's going to lead to. You have no idea. So awesome work, ladies, for your first deal. Congratulations. That's awesome. Very cool. Now let's go down to you. Tell us about the deal that landed you on here. I know about it, but the audience doesn't. So go ahead and share away.
First of all, I just want to say, without marketing, there's no success in a business, right? It's like the blood in the the blood in any business, in like it's a literally it cannot exist, and a lot of people just don't realize the importance of marketing. I mean, guys, no marketing, no leads, no business. Just that's it. It's like literally that simple. So kudos for you, daughter. Amazing. If that's her passion, then that's definitely not only what she needs to stay focused, but that's amazing. I'm just so happy for you, ladies. This is just I'm jealous. I hope my daughter will be at some point next to me, sitting like your daughter is next to you.
Aww.
Doing the same exact thing with me. Like I always say, define success. Look at someone's kids.
Yeah. Oh, don't make me cry. Don't make me cry.
Don't cry. It's hard to make you cry.
No, it acts up like crazy because I have a 15 and a 16-year-old, and one's just turned 16 and they're driving, and and it is true. Like they can be really rough on me, but then when I go out to the community and I hear about them, and it's just like, okay, this is what I'm doing, and they watch you and they mimic what you're doing.
Good or bad, so we got to watch it.
And they're listening all the time. I have a conversation with my wife, and then I hear my daughter upstairs in the second floor. But why did you say that? So they're listening.
Yeah.
Listen. Yeah. No mistake about it. All right. The question was about my deal. Okay. I picked up a senior living in Philadelphia that had a very unfortunate circumstances of, losing about half of their population due to COVID. COVID came, and half of the residents just didn't survive, and the other half just their families got scared, and they pulled them out because they're like, we don't want them to be next. And I kind of understand, and so I think in a nutshell, that was the main reason that, they sold because they were just falling behind on, on their financial commitments. And, that's kind of where I came in, and I got the building for about $3 million. It's an historical 18th century building, so it has amazing bones. Like it's just it's beautiful. But I picked it up initially with a conversion to multifamily in mind. I picked up about a $4 million construction loan with the intent to make a 45-unit apartment building complex out of it. And what happened is that about halfway into it, as I'm stripping the structure, and it takes so long because you got to go through a lot of loops when you're renovating historical buildings. It's the black belt of renovations.
Oh my goodness, especially in Philadelphia area, because I lived in Philly for 2 years, and so I know all about that. So
so about halfway or so into it, they cut off the Airbnb in Philadelphia, just like they did in Los Angeles, and they did it in other parts, LA, New York. And everyone's just dumping their rentals and just running for the hills, their Airbnbs, And I know a guy that had 17 units, and he's like, I'm out, because they were talking about imposing fines and this and that and the other thing. And as I see everyone running to the hills, I'm stopping for a second. I'm taking a step back, and I'm just soaking it in. And I'm like, okay, so where's all the short-term, people going to go to, right?
Yeah.
Like anything else in business, and it really resonated with me what these young ladies said, that they understand that a lot of times it's not what we want as business owners. It's you have to keep your ear to the ground and listen to what is the problem that your potential customers have.
Right.
It's not about us. It's not about what we want. It's not about we got to make money here, right? It's never about that. And if you're thinking that way, it's not going to happen for you. You chase the money, runs away, right? It's literally that simple. But if you recognize the problem and really come up with a solution, which is, by the way, something that Pace advocates also for, you know, I'm not preaching to anything, like I'm not reinventing the wheel here, right? It's just literally how good business is done. And good is not just in the integrity way of things, which I'm also really advocating for. It's also in a way that you're going to be able to successfully do, you know, proper profit in that sense, or the profitable way. Because if you understand the solution, you understand what the people needs, and you find what you need, I mean, the problem, and then match it with the solution, then the money will follow that, because you're providing then value versus trying to make money, right? And money will follow that. If you really drive value to people, then the money will just come. It's literally a byproduct. So I'm like, okay, so there's no short term. My analysis of short term is just the way how I analyze things. I have a rule of thumb. I call it the 3 H's, right? If there's a place where there's a hospital, a highway, and a hotel, people will need short-term accommodation. Hospital, people doing chemos, people doing surgeries. In Philadelphia, it's a CHOP hospital. People bring their kids, right? Procedures that otherwise they can't do in the country, so they need the accommodation, right? A highway, people come to visit, people come to vacation, people want to jump on a highway, right? They want to go places.
95.
You're strategically located in a potential area that someone will want to stay in. And obviously the hotel for the last age. I mean, if you see hotels there, you know, they did their research. I mean, they spend money on research like me and you and everybody here would never have spend monies on research. So, you know, if there's a hotel there, you know, good chances that people are looking for short-term accommodation. So when I checked boxes on all those 3, I basically am thinking to myself, why not me, right? So I pivoted. I basically changed the strategy, and I was going for a variance to change the usage of you know, I don't want to get too deep on you know, on mumbo jumbos and zoning ordinance and all that. Bottom line, I pivoted from an apartment company, apartment building, multifamily, to a hotel usage of the dwelling, and voila, I had a hotel license. And then I picked up another $4 million construction loan. Because I like to put my head under a big rock. You know, hey, I mean, I'm risking $4 million. I might as well risk 8, right?
I mean, why not? It's a historical building in Philadelphia going through like post-COVID. Like, why not? Like, I love it.
Exactly.
And I love your analysis of the 3 H's. I've never heard it like that. And another thing that I like to do too is, where's there a Costco? Because they do so much money in demographics and city data, because they won't plant a multi-million or billion-dollar business in a place where it's not going to be successful. So you can instantly see what kind of asset classes. That's how I do underwriting for residential assisted living. His that closed down, that he converted, because there was so much. I worked through COVID. I was a migrant outreach nurse on the agriculture farms of Southwest Michigan, pulling up like MASH. And I've also been a director of nursing for a facility like that, and had lots of employees and 103 souls underneath my belt. So I know how it is to make those decisions. And when you're doing demographics and you're getting $4 million worth of loans and another 3, and you're dealing with zoning and historic stuff, like that's huge. That's a huge undertaking. So man, I didn't know it was historical. So now my mind is blown. And now it's like, I definitely have to come out east, because I canceled my first trip when I was supposed to speak. But man, I had no idea it was historical. So it's in Fishtown, right? And outside of Philly? Okay. And so tell us a little bit about the conversion of the hotel, because I've heard April rave about it on I think she did a video or something. I've seen pictures. Birdie's flown out to do a flyby birdie, and so but I have yet to actually like see the inside of the bones except for like the pictures you've posted. So tell us a little bit about the conversion and what your vision and idea was with that.
Yeah, shout out to Birdie.
Yes, I love Birdie.
She's amazing, and she
Love
just,
Bird.
you know, she's so dedicated to and passionate to what she does. I mean, she's
Cheers.
like, you know what, I got to see this. I got to draw inspiration. I gotta kind of, you know, sometimes sharpen my pencil, if you will. You know, being an interior designer, like she's committed. You know, and good for her, because that's literally sometimes what will make people either fail or succeed. You know, just stay at it, right? So yeah, so she came, and you know, it's something that I have to stop and recognize our community. I mean, you know, Alexis flew in, you know, Alexis and Abe, and just so many good people just wanted to see, you know, what I got going on, because I have, you know, an appetite for different unique things, and on the bigger things. I mean, this is not a small project. You figure 3 million plus 8 million. I'm about 11 million in it, right? This is, I'm in it before I even potentially can make money here, right? So back on track as far as the deal, because that's the initial question, right, that you presented to me. The historical part was important, not just to the city in the way that you know, I will sustain a certain concept of the bones. I also wanted to capture the integrity of the structure, because I did property restoration. You know, I know what it takes. I know how to appreciate the beauty, right? And this is completely out of my stuff that I do. I do ground up. I build ground up multifamily, brand new. I don't rehab. I don't, you know, fix and flip. I just don't. But this was special. It was really, really special. And I wanted to make sure that I am just fully submersed into what it is, and I'm staying there. You know, I'm dipping myself in the Kool-Aid. Like I am the way that this was built. You know, there's a lot of historical things that were just kept in the lobby areas. So fast forward to just complete the answer. It was almost a 3-year project.
Oh, wow. Okay. So,
yes.
I mean, it's actually kind of, it's not that long when you can think about all the hoops that you have to, I mean, I'm sure it was like, felt like an eternity to you, but for converting something like that, because I'm sure it had like ADA compliance, like American Disabilities Act, so the grab bars, like when it's going from a senior living facility, it's a whole, do you have before and after photos, by the way?
Do I have? I have
I need a portfolio. We need some kind of before and afters here, because that's a huge undertaking.
Yeah. Man. So the mechanicals alone, right? Before you even build anything, you have to strip. Like when I did, and I promise I'm not avoiding the topic. When I did the undercover boss of coming in once it opened, and I took my wife.
I love that when you did that. That was so awesome.
Thank you.
So tell them what you did, though. Don't just say that.
I'll say, but I was just really going somewhere with this, you know.
Oh, sorry.
Because, you know, from where it was when I saw it initially, okay, of small oxygen sensors behind headboards and railings all the way from the bed to the shower, so people will not fall, right? And small kitchenettes, outdated, and just oxygen lines. And for me to sleep with my wife in the same room that looks from a design standpoint, and I don't care if people, you know, if this is going to sound like bragging, and I'm very sensitive because I'm not a bragger. I'm just trying to drive a point here. To sleep in a room that is so beautiful that it was featured in the New York Times magazine,
That's a big deal. Like, that's not bragging.
No, but this is my point. From something like this to something like that, I'm sitting in the bed and I'm not falling asleep. I'm just soaking. Like, it was so surreal for me. You said before and after pictures. Wow. I went through the whole process of just stripping the mechanicals, the boilers, the just before I could even build anything, just to kind of get a clear canvas before you can even draw anything you want to potentially make out of it. Right? Like, going through all the stuff that were there to what it is now is it's something that was surreal for me. The pictures are so drastically different. You know, when you talk about it before and after, it looks like a different place in Europe now. Like, it's not even looking like it's from, you know. So other than me taking pride in that fact, it's just comes to say how much work needed to be done to take it from A to B, being so drastic.
Huge.
Yeah. Yeah. So you wanted me to talk about the Undercover Boss, which
that story was so much better. Like, I felt that one. I watched the other one, and you went there, and everything went off. And we need to go be Undercover Boss's buddies. So I think the three of us ladies here need to figure out how to get there and be like, Undercover Boss's buddy.
I'm gonna since it was an existing Ariel and that was like my specialty, I'm having chest pain or I'm choking, see if they have a life vac, an AED, and the things that I offer to do for your resort, Doron. Hint, hint, how many people die of cardiac arrest every year? How many, one person in every 5 days dies from choking? Or what if someone like me has anaphylaxis because of bee sting or a nut allergy? How is your team going to? So if you want an undercover boss, I'll do the medical version.
so let me say, I never had so many mystery shopper offers before in my life.
Oh, I bet.
As I did when I started posting pictures.
Oh, I bet.
Of that. But putting that aside, we're still vamping things up, you know. I mean, we're about, you know, most of the hotels open. We have one restaurant almost completely doing 3 services. So we do dinner service, lunch service. You know, we have another restaurant that we're actually opening tomorrow. So there's 2 restaurants, there's 2 bars. It's about 10,000 square feet of almost outfit that needed, like a commercial outfit that needed to kind of be completely turned around, right? Between having a cafeteria and having a bingo room and having, you know, a little bit of a different, you know, to now a spa, you know, and obviously the restaurants, the bars, but even the lobby and the courtyard, you know, used to have benches and half dead trees, you know, and I'm flying a pool from London and I'm making it a pool area, and it's just a complete makeover. I mean, makeover is really
understatement.
And I just poured all my development relationship as a developers that I had into this of relationships that I have. Like, I import a lot of stuff from Turkey, from Greece, a little bit of Italy as far as, you know, natural stone. So I just poured, you know, China, everything that every relationship that I ever have that I used to basically do my ground up and then some, because now it's custom stuff, right? It's not the standard. So everyone just really, like, I was raising, it's not just me, it's an entire team. I mean, saying all the time me is really wrong for me to say. So I just want to acknowledge that we raised the bar for so many of those relationships. Even the furniture was fabricated in Indonesia, right?
Wow.
And they lost a container in sea for 2 months. They didn't even know where the furniture was.
Oh, snap.
So the logistics of getting those things from overseas, it was quite challenging, you know. And one vendor, you know, they had the Ramadan. It's a Muslim country, right? So for a whole month,
yeah,
we can talk to the wall, buddy. Nobody's talking to you.
Yeah.
It's not like you fly to Connecticut or, or whatever, to Texas and knock on a door. Hey guys, where's my stuff? No, nobody's even talking to you. So to say that logistically speaking, dealing with all those vendors,
oh my goodness,
was difficult. It's an understatement. It was quite the challenge, and very from an operational standpoint, very challenging.
I bet too, like pirates, like you're having like shipping
That's what
like
happened.
problems. You can't track that stuff. Maybe a pirate got it, maybe not. Maybe
you remember they closed a lot of sea trading lines because of hijack.
Oh, of course,
I got impacted by it.
Yeah, I knew that. That's why I had mentioned it, because like I know Philadelphia's porting and I'm in Michigan, and so we have importing and exporting too.
We know it.
And it's a thing. Like, do you have pirates and all kinds of things that go on? And on top of all the other stuff, and going post-COVID, things are slower. People are working from home. People are calling off. People aren't working as much because they know that they can get the money, by sitting at home. So there was so many variables for you to just take this by the horns and be like, I'm going to do this. I mean, that in itself is just a small feat. So congratulations. And you didn't mention the name. What is the name of this amazing place where people can Google and search? And like, what is the name of this place?
Yeah, it's Anna and Belle, which were there were two sisters, so this used to be before the senior living. It used to be a shelter for women.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so it's literally been so many different things, and it's historic. So it's always, oh my goodness.
And the name of the sisters, there were actually two sisters living there. And this is kind of to keep their memory. Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Don't make me ruin my makeup. I mean, my makeup actually looks good today. And shout out to the women in your life too, because you mentioned women. Shout out to the strong women that you had supporting you through this, because let's be clear, when you are taking something like that, the wife takes the brunt of the child rearing and making sure that everybody's cups are filled. And so shout out to your wife, and then to all your supporting people in your life to make sure that you could be the strong man that you needed to be to pull this off. Like it's teamwork, make your dream work, just like in the ICU, an old saying, like if you don't have all the cogs and all the wheels turning and aligning, then you can't do one without the other. It's like having kidneys without a heart, So shout out to your wife.
You said women, and the number one thing I want to just give you the answer, but I'm going to take you the long way with it. Look at Pace. How many women he has around him, and how many men? I would be, and this is a compliment to women, right? A testament to what you just said. I would say for every one guy to Minaski he has around him, he probably has 9 women, right? So I would tell you that's at the very least the amount of women on our team, between the designers, between the planners of the events. I mean, we're having weddings, we have events also.
Sure.
More than 90% women, and I would hands down, and any man, senior or not, in our team will not be able to pull off any vision, any execution, any concept, anything without the women in our team. You're smarter. You look at things through a clear lens, and I can go on and on and on and on, but couldn't agree with you more.
Well, thank you for that. And going back to what you ladies said, it is different coming from nursing, where you get paid for what you're worth and there's not like an organ attached to it. I've seen that like so many times over. And Doron, we've talked about that too, how to be in certain rooms, you need the teamwork. You need the strong man to be by you. Like my partner, Frank, he supports me in everything I do. If I need to hop on a call just to get that male presence, I'm like, dude, I need you to hop on this call for me. And he'll be there for me, because you do sometimes you need to have that door opened up, and you need to work together as yin and yang, because like your strengths complement the weaknesses and vice versa. And that's what makes it so important in a time where we have leading to drama and division. We can come together as a community and create clear, concise creative problems to solve solutions to something like this and to provide value to the community. Now you have people flying all over to visit your establishment. And instead of it dying and just being another abandoned building on a block in Philadelphia, turning into like a mini Kenzie, you know, because your markets can change like crazy in an area. Like it can be really good 1 minute, and then the next 5 years, the whole entire market can shift and change, you know? So that's amazing to have those aesthetics mixed with purpose, and then to pivot and then to execute that vision.
Yeah,
Well
but
done,
you asked about the deal, and I know we went completely off topic.
That's okay. That's what this is about. It's okay. That's what this is.
It happened organically, but I have to finish the deal, right? Because we know the numbers. We know 3 million acquisition. We know 8 million renovation, but we don't know the we don't know the evaluation. So, he got evaluated, I think, like 5 months ago, at the $25 million mark.
Wow.
Nice.
And we're actually going way above our pro forma numbers. So I can just throw some numbers at you. The restaurant, we were forecasting about $7,000 on a weekend day for the first month. We're closer to the 16,000 mark. Room average, we were at about the higher 290s, 300 lowers. We're at $400 mark. Why am I telling you this? Because realistically, our evaluation is probably going to hit the 32 million, not the 25.
So almost, wow.
Yeah, I mean, so you know, this all started with almost nothing, right? And most people will say, "There's no way," right? Like, just go for it, guys. Just go for it. And just don't be scared, because nothing's on the other side of the fear. And like you said before, those things you ladies are trying to avoid, that's where the money is, right? And I think you already know that the money is in the tasks you're avoiding, right?
For sure.
So don't avoid things, just do them.
Yeah.
I keep thinking about, I know all of our hearts that are on this video, I mean, like on this live, and I know that there's a lot of people that are listening and going to listen, and their hearts are also to give. But one of the things and the practical things that went through my mind was, my husband's a chef, and I think of all of his guys in the kitchen, and I think of all their families and their grandkids. And I'm just, when you were like, the number is this and it's 25 million, I mean, that is so impressive. But when you break it down, how many mouths are being fed by you doing?
I agree with you.
I mean, like, there are little kids that are going to get to go to school and have shoes to go to school because you've got a dishwasher, you know, like every single person matters so much. And you guys and your team that you've given credit to did the tasks, and it just goes like octopus tentacles out into the, you know, the people that are touching. And just thank you for the discipline that it took. And I also, as you told your story, was thinking about all those little like businesses you had, and all of that you needed all those different skills, not just people skills, but you're like, you know, the design skills, restoration skills, you know, you had all these little businesses that, yes, they made you money, but they were the education that you needed to do this. You don't need to go to some school and learn from you know, and there is a time and a place for school. I'm not saying that we need our nurses to go to school. We need our doctors to go to school. But oftentimes on that route, you're learning from a professor that's never done the thing. And you went out there and you were your own professor, and you learned all the skills and the generations that will change. This is a historical building. This will be a hotel, and the business deals that will happen in those restaurants, the proposals that will happen over dessert. You know? The
weddings, the proposals, you know, there's a lot
tied up into this. And just thanks, because it's really inspirational to hear the whole story. Like, we see things like this, but when you really get to the human side of it,
right,
it's amazing. So this was such a good hour of our time to just be here in this room with you guys.
And coming from a different country, leaving at his young age, and it goes to show you, like, I always joke around and say, I have white woman privilege. I'm in the United States of America, and I'm like, what am I, like, suck it up, right? And I think I even said that to you on the call, like, you know, like when you get into those clumps and you start circling the drain, get on the call with people like that will inspire you. Listen to these stories that people triumphed and they face everything and rise, not face everything and run. That's huge in anything you do, whether it's your business, your marriage, your partnerships, like whatever you do, put that kind of energy in it and then stay the course.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, so I think we've all like just discussed how much the community like means to us and how much it's affected us. So I'm going to go over to the ladies. What are you guys doing next? Like short-term, mid-term, long-term? What are your goals? What do your businesses need? Go ahead and shout out your social media because we are having a problem with putting them here, but we can add them to the comment section too afterwards. But just basically tell us what you guys need and if there's anything that the audience can possibly help you with.
So our thing that we've been doing for a long time is supporting women that have been trafficked. So that where we're getting into now, or where I'm getting into now, and is co-living. And I've made some partnerships in the community. Shout out to an amazing woman. She's part of Owners Club. We had an amazing time chatting at community camp, and I'm not going to drop her name right now because I know that we're kind of talking on the side, but she's really.
I know who you're talking about, and we'll have to connect after too.
Yeah, but it's just, this community is incredible because, you know, as you're walking the walk and you're doing the task, you dig deeper into what you want to do. And then I found a local woman that is pre-foreclosure queen here in Chicago, and she's been helping me, and we've been having some amazing meetings. And so I'm just grateful to the community, 100%. And then Grace is just what
I'll follow that. I was looking at kind of like the last history that we've had in the group since we joined officially in January, and I just can't say the amount of accelerated growth that I felt just by people that, well, I guess for one example, I was working on a property and I had reached out to somebody and they're like, oh my goodness, yeah, we'll connect about this. They called me on my cell and I was like, wait, how'd they get my number? Realizing that they had connected with me. I had notes, but I had completely forgot all of these details. Turns out this guy, a real big name, I also won't drop him here in case he doesn't want his name dropped, but I'm like, I went back to my team, I'm like, oh, so-and-so was looking at this property. And they're like, wait, so-and-so? Are you talking about so-and-so? Like, that's a 2-name guy. And I was like, oh my gosh. So just the quality that just the quality of community that we have here. First, a huge thank you to Pace of just establishing this type of culture of you're never too big to give and you're never too small to give. Because I've just like coming in as I was just 20 years old, and this like big name, like that I will say now because I'll give honor to him, but was like talking to, oh my gosh, little old me. I like, where else would that have happened? So I'm all this to say, I just want to also be in a point of like, instead of asking, like, how can the community help me? What do you guys need? Because I just keep feeling like I've just been have been receiving so much from everybody, from you, Kimberly, and from you, Doron, and even from you, Mom. But just everybody.
Even Mom, I mean, she just birthed you.
No biggie.
Anyway, especially.
Oh, kid response. No, I'm kidding.
I want to put this out first. And if anybody needs anything, even if it's just like a 15-minute connection call, reach out to me for like, even if just like 15 minutes of encouragement, let's do it. Cause you never know where it's going to end up. If there's anything I can help you with, I'm out in Columbus. I'm in Chicago right now, but I'm out in Columbus. Come to like whatever somebody needs. Like I want to figure out how to help you guys just as an honest, just full expression of gratitude for this entire community. So
what's your social?
Oh, my social. I'm mostly on Facebook, so just find my name, just Grace Plata. You can spell that Plata. I'm also, you can find me on Instagram too. Just search my name as well, and you'll find me there.
Real Grace
Plata. Yeah. So I do. Nice. I have so.
And we'll have that too, like, because this will be on YouTube, like it'll be uploaded, and I'm streaming it live also to my Facebook. And so you guys know I'm in the state shaped like a mitten, so you can't go. So you need to stop at my compound, like on the way, and vice versa. I have an RV. Pretty soon I'm going to have little tiny houses. I'm going to have a whole entire care compound. It's going to be called my Creative Caring Compound. And so you guys always have a little special place here in Michigan on your treks back and forth to see mom. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. And I'm going to be hitting you up for some ideas for marketing too. So thank you.
Wonderful.
I appreciate that. And keep up the good work. Like, you are killing it. You guys are, and I'll never forget how I met you two in Chicago. Lynn was just like, you're setting up, or we're sweating. We're like trying to look halfway cute. And like, I love that, Lynn. I mean, she's amazing. And you're like, have hummus here, and we're trying to get set up for everything. And like, we're like in downtown Chicago, like trying to get set up for Caroline and Myron coming through. And that's exactly what we do. We just buckle down and do what we need to do for the greater good, you know? So thank you guys for being such a pillar in this community too. And because you can't create time, you can't take it back. And so the time that you invest in others with phone calls and what you're doing and the intentionality, whether you're setting up for a meetup, people like me, I notice that. I just, because like those are the do givers that like everyone enjoys and then leaves, and then you guys are still. And so people definitely take note for sure. So thank you guys for being so involved as well.
Yeah, and the community is great in the sense that you don't really, like, I can't tell you how many times people told me like, okay, so are you even in our community, are you a part of other communities also? I'm like, no, everything I need is right here. Yes. No, you're not part of any other like nope. Nope. I'm everything I need. Pace says it's not what you know, it's who you know. Well, everything you know I'll ever need is in my community. Like, I want to do deals with everybody. I don't care if you're like a month in here or 3 years in here. I couldn't care the less. If I can drive value to you, okay, not just take something from me, but also give you something in exchange, then that transaction makes sense to me.
I love it.
And let's do it.
Yes. And it's so true, because it is intimidating. Like Grace said, being in the right rooms at the right time, sometimes you get intimidated by like their greatness. But like, I always break it down. I always compare things with nursing. These same people will always need a nurse or a doctor. So I never was intimidated, because when you're clinging to life and I have a decimal point that can like take your life or save it, like it doesn't matter. When I'm holding people's hands at their last breath, what I always heard was regret. I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have took that chance. I wish I would have like ROT, had that return on time and not traded dollars. And so that's why this is so important to get the message out there, because I have taken care of multimillionaires and billionaires and VIPs and stars in the different institutions that I've worked in. And it's always the same. It doesn't matter how much money they make, what assets they have, or liabilities or lack thereof. It's about time and regret. So use this as inspiration to continue to propel yourself forward. And like Kat says, amazing. And sorry, Kat, we didn't get to your question. Kat, I think if I'm trying to remember right, she asked a question about funding, about EMD. Do you raise money for the EMD and renovations for your project? So EMD is a little bit different, Kat, but Doron, do you want to maybe say how you built that business credit stacking? Because it does, there's a lot with financing, private money lending, private money partnering, different ways to capital stack for projects by using OPM, other people's money. Do you want to share a little bit about how you can get access to some of that money?
Yeah, so First of all, before I forget, you're a power plant. Like when I hit 49, I want to be as much energy and like just my truth to shine out of me as it is from you.
Oh, thank you.
You know, you're a power plant. So you're amazing. That's it. I just wanted to say that. Now, to answer the question, I was fortunate enough to have a good amount of capital that I basically funded all my stuff, multifamily ground up stuff. And before I joined the community and Pace advocating for, like I said, OPM, other people's money. In the beginning, like anybody else listening to a new concept, okay. Very quickly, I realized that I'm not a bank. I don't have any more money left, right? So I need to learn how to use other people's money. So I'm fortunate enough, you know, to have people want to put money in my deals, right? I take it very, very seriously. I feel very, very responsible about other people's money. So believe it or not, many times I say no. If I don't have the right development lined up for people's money, I rather not take the money and not execute on just a development to satisfy someone who wants to put their money somewhere. Yeah. So I now use OPM if I have the right opportunity, and if not, it's okay. There's plenty of opportunities, and the time will come for that. EMD I don't use a lot, only on really large transactions. Hopefully I answered the question.
You did. Good job. And then, I mean, we've all expressed how much the community means to us, but I'm going to go over to you, Grace and Lynn. If you had a one-liner of someone that was on the fence, they saw the YouTube videos, they see these lives, like we're not scripted, this is 100% organic. What would you tell them if they were on the fence of joining?
I would say, what's the harm? I don't know if it's like that's a negative connotation of like, oh, what if this goes wrong? I'm like, well, what's the harm? Like, you make money back. Like, I don't mean to make everything such a long story, but there was this video I had seen, and somebody said, oftentimes, like, as entrepreneurs, we're like, oh my gosh, what if this fails? Like, what if it goes on? It's like, then your plan B is everybody's plan A. You get a job, you go waitress, you go do something. It's just like,
yes,
what's the harm? Take the risk, meet the people, stay up there, read a book. I'll just even say this. Then just learn with what you can with what we have. The age of information, YouTube, like even the free groups Pace has created, go learn there, be consistent, set 20-minute timer, like you're going to watch this video from Pace while you eat your breakfast, whatever. But what's the harm? Like, you're only going to grow.
Love it. You have the wisdom of a grandma, and you're cool like an auntie, but you're young. Like, what is your, okay, I'm a Gen Xer. What are you? So are you a millennial?
I'd be Gen Z.
Okay, Gen Z, and y'all get such a bad rap, and it goes to show you can be 50 and be completely like dingleberried out. And then here we have like you dropping bombs that everyone can hear on here that I can learn from. Like, I'm going to
be the exception to the rule. Always be the exception to the rule.
Love it.
Yeah.
My daughter's coming to me like, oh, you're weird. Because now everybody's weird, right? That's like the new thing. And I'm like, okay, and you make it sound like it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
I want to be weird.
Yeah.
Like, what's wrong with being weird?
We're afraid of standing out, and sometimes we were never meant to fit in.
Don't. If Pace would be worried about standing out and doing something that nobody ever did because he wants to be the rule, you don't want to be the exception to the rule. Yeah. Guess what? None of we all would have been here. Hopefully, I didn't mess it up, but you know what I meant, right? We would not be doing this, right? You ladies wouldn't join. You wouldn't find these beautiful people in our community and get all the help and people to pour into you and give you what you need, right?
That part.
So that's it.
Well said. How about you, Lynn? What would be your one-liner that would, if someone was on the fence? And then we'll go on to you, Doron.
Take action. I mean, that's it. You can push the play, watch the 12-minute or 20-minute video, but if you just do that day after day, you're going to be doing that when you're 57, 58. You got to just do it. And it's really weird because I didn't realize what I didn't know until I started doing the thing, right?
I like that ding that happened. Like, ding! It was like very...
I'm so sorry. That's my time.
No, it's confirming that what you're saying is so true. I love the time. It's like,
is this supposed to happen? Is the guys behind the scenes are doing this? Like, anytime there's like a great moment, ding.
So, but it's just, you don't realize what you don't know until you're doing it. Like I had the thing, like something just happened. I can't remember what it is right now, but I was just talking about it the other day. I had it in my notes. I had seen this particular thing several times in my notes on a logical level, on an academic level. I knew what that was, but when I was there and it was time to take that action, I didn't know that, like, what to do. And then that's where community comes in. But I was taking action. I didn't know what I didn't know, even though I thought I knew it. Like, if you quizzed me on it or asked me, I could have told you what that was, but I didn't know when it was real life. And so it's in the action. Life takes place when you're doing things.
Yeah, regardless of what category it is, for sure. How about you down there below? Doron, like I'm just all over with your names. You're just cool. I feel like calling you the D because I was raised outside Detroit. So I just, but I like to assign nicknames to people, but then I'm very conscientious with how they like to be presented and stuff. But you'll always be Doron or the D to me.
You can call me Doron Doron is fine. As long as I know you're calling me, that's all that matters. That's what I say to people that don't know how to say my name.
Love it.
I'm not too hung over it. Mine would be probably don't be short-sighted. Don't look at things on a transactional level. Look at things about doing people right and establishing a long-term relationship with people. I rather say no if I know that I can serve you well and I'll get you on the next one, than disappoint you. My reputation is my most valuable asset.
Yep.
And I say 9 times no before I say yes if I don't know that I can do you right.
Yeah.
I don't just say, oh, I can make so much money on you today, right? Or from your transaction today, and leave bad taste in your mouth. No, right? Successful people don't have short sight. They have long vision, right? And they give and they pour into people. The most successful people are givers. Look at Pace, right? And they're never short-sighted. Just this transaction. It's always about sustaining a good reputation, acknowledging there's not enough money in the world for you to ruin your reputation. I speak for myself, but if you ask me what would be my advice, is this. This is how I see things and how I recommend everyone else to look at it as well.
I love it. Well said, because the way that you make people feel, that's your brand. And if you're over leveraged in everything else in your life with your time commitments to your kids or to your wife or to your W-2, that's going to be a problem when you have to execute an exit and you have to be in war. Like people don't realize when you have to go to war with your partners, you will find out really quick the love and lack of capital can be the root of all evil when people are over leveraged with their time and they literally can't give you that time, not because it was intentional, because people get sick, people get divorced, you get cancer, aliens abduct you, like Pace says. So I just love that because it goes to show that you never want to be over leveraged in anything, whether it's finances, whether it's time, because you can't create time. And so you can only get so much done in a day. So if you're over committing yourself in other areas, that's going to trickle over in your business. So hats off to you. I love that.
Yeah, it's not just over leverage. It's also, internal integrity. You want to look short sighted. I can make so much money now, but coming out of it, it's not as they say, kosher. Okay, and then what? Smarty pants. Then what? The next one, nobody wants to deal with you, or you have a foul taste in one's mouth, and then your reputation's down the gutter. And this is really people's most valuable asset. It's not ever about how much money they can make now. It's always a long-term strategy. Success is a long-term strategy. The wealth is accumulated over multiple transactions.
Agreed.
And that's really the vision, because at the end of the day, if you don't have that internal integrity, you look at the mirror, you did something wrong.
You're right.
You go to bed with yourself, right? Like, you're not cheating anyone. Right?
Right.
So if you have that, it will only serve you right.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. Your reputation is the most valuable asset, is really what I want to give to your listeners.
Love it. And I think Grace she'll agree with this too. Like, in a marketing aspect is like word of mouth is huge. Like, are you going to the surgeon that messed up on Billy Bob's toe? No. Are you going to go to, the hotel that you got bed bugs from, or that no, right? Like, word of mouth travels, and whatever category, whatever business it is, word does get out. And that's your best marketing funnel right there, is just the way that your business operates.
Absolutely.
For sure. So thank you guys so much. We have just dropped so many nuggets. I appreciate you guys for taking time out on this Friday. It's so cool how it worked out too, because I'm usually the Tuesday host. And so when I saw that I was doing, I'm like, oh my goodness, Lynn, I just met her. Oh, Doron. Oh my goodness. Like, I hope I can get through without crying. So with that being said, thank you all so much. If you guys have a win and you would like to be featured here on this podcast, feel free to email Taya, Taya at pacemorby.com. And so you can be on here and dropping all the nuggets and sharing some of the amazing things that you have done. So thank you guys so much. And here it is, drop below, Taya at pacemorby.com. And thank you to Derek and the Morby Media team for looking us up and always just like saving us.
Yeah,
It's the best.
Absolutely. You guys are amazing. Grace, Lynn, Doron. Oh my God. That was so awesome. Thank you so very much.
I've gone on and on and on. But I'm like, Derek probably has a run to go to or a swim. Or
No, this is good. Every time we're doing these Q&A lives, I'm taking notes. I'm thorough with my note taking. I'm always learning. Yes, I do have a swim today, Kimberly, in about an hour. But I love all this knowledge. And I love what you guys said about those who are on the fence. By the way, Grace, your knowledge. Okay. First of all, your age. Wow. And being a social media strategist myself, and the things you were saying, very impressive. Like, I'm like, she's 21 and I'm writing notes.
Her age to knowledge ratio.
It's crazy.
oh, yeah.
Crazy.
Right?
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. So yeah, I love what you guys had to say. I don't want to keep you, but I love what you guys said about those who are on the fence. I think that was so profound what you said, Grace. You know, a lot of times we think, if I'm going to spend this money to get involved in this, if it doesn't work, I'm going to vanish into nothingness and like my life ends. I mean, for some reason we think that, but you just so eloquently said,
love it.
Go get a job. I mean,
yeah, right.
You still
I don't want one of those.
Right, go get a job. Yeah,
Right,
I still hold my license. I still hold my nursing license just in case. I still keep up my continuing education credits just in case.
Right.
Worst case, you're back to square one. You have nothing to lose, only to gain. That's it.
There you go. Ding, ding, ding.
But you guys all touched on the community. And Doron, you touched on the community very well earlier when you talked about this is the only community you're a part of. Because when I found this community, because Pace was like, get from buying the computer, Derek, go to an event, meet the people. I'm gonna just say this, just piggybacking off of what these very intelligent individuals already said. If you join this community, you're not going to fail. I'm not trying to sound like a cliche, but I was at Squad Up Summit, okay? I knew nobody. And I had absolute strangers walking up to me. And I'm talking like men, women, race didn't matter. They're walking up to me. What's your name? Where are you from? Are you a sub-2 member? Are you a Gator? How can I help you? I've never been in that type of an environment where these people really, truly want you to win. So you're not going to fail in this community. You just can't fail in this community. I mean, it's just so contagious, and the people are just all over. They're all over you. I mean, it's oh my God.
Or you signed up for an Ironman. Show them your shirt.
Oh yeah, my cool little.
There it is. There it is, representing.
Going hard tomorrow. Yeah. So yeah, guys, this was so amazing. Yeah, I can't wait to see you guys at Squad Up Summit next year. It's going to be awesome.
One of the things I just wanted to say, I felt that when you were talking about Squad Up, the high level of people. Yeah. So there's people that like are sitting at home going, I don't have a mentor. I grew up without a dad, like, or I don't have a big brother, or like, I didn't have somebody that walked me through it. Yeah, there are high level people here. As long as you care, you know, so there is a way to fail, is to not do it or to wallow. But if you step out there and you're trying, there's all kinds of mentors, all kinds of ages. Right. You know? I mean, I'm much older than you. and you're crying over your 49th birthday. And then we've got a 21-year-old, and and everything in between, and and all kinds of different socioeconomic and backgrounds and countries that people are from and languages that people speak.
Yes.
And we have deaf people in our community that are doing this with no excuses.
Yes.
And it's just like, whatever, get over it. Don't wallow.
Yeah,
and if you're having a wallow day, call someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people
in your community, because they know exactly what you're going through, because they
right.
also
Yes.
Yes.
That's right, Dee.
I've got Nita Patel. I'm just going to throw her name right now. She has been walking through some stuff with me in the last couple of weeks. And I mean, I would have never met her if it wasn't for this community. And she's taken my life to another level just by her, like, and who would have thought somebody like that would talk to me, but somebody talked to her when she was where I am, right? And it's just, that's what this community means to me.
She's super sweet. Yeah. And I love her. And too, to piggyback, like the limitations too, like physical, like Tasheen in our community, he was on a scooter going door to door, like when he first started off, because he has cerebral palsy. And then I found out a golden ticket that his scooter was broke. And I was like, oh no, you're going to get lactic acid. We need to solve this problem. I got into our Northeast Gator group and my Detroit group. We had his money for his scooter raised like that within 24 hours. And I had a scooter at his door. And not, and that's the power of just the much as people care, they just know that one of their own is hurting and they need to solve that problem. And if that's throwing dollars at it, they throw dollars at it because that's what they can do. And then I'm calling in, getting a professional courtesy, hey, I'm a nurse by trade. Can I get a professional courtesy over here? Sure. Can you get it same day? Sure. All right. And that is and that's what makes it so amazing.
That's this community.
Community is amazing. Amazing.
Thanks,
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Pace.
Thank you guys. Yo, Pace is the man. Yeah, especially when he has those Air Jordans on. My guy. Yeah. I have one thing I want to say. I'll let you guys go. When I got to Squat Up Summit, I was going down the escalator, and there was a very well-dressed, very handsome gentleman, maybe about 5'4", but he was very well-dressed. And he walked up to me. He had a question. And we were just talking, and he was very high tempo, he's very upbeat, very hyped, and very excited. And as we talked, he said something to me, and I almost didn't believe him because he was almost the first person I spoke to, because I was there to just do work and work for Pace and whatever. He mentioned to me that he was homeless 2 years ago. Oh my gosh. Okay. And true story. Wow. He said he was homeless. I want to say he's from Colombia. And we talked, and I said, what do you mean? You're like, so how did you get here? Like, he said, well, I got to America, and he was perusing the internet, and he found Pace. Oh my gosh. And he went into this whole rigmarole explaining, he was on his last, he had nothing. Like, he had nothing. And he was like, why not? And so I bring that up because, if you're on the fence, but you have a roof over your head, if you're on the fence, but you have a car to drive to your job and you have food in the refrigerator, like, I think about your story, Doron. Like, you came here with basically nothing, man. And then you just blew up, and you just worked hard and you did your thing. You didn't think about the contingency plan because there wasn't a contingency plan. The contingency plan was succeed, period. Right. And so that's it. So when I think about like this gentleman I met, I'm like, my God, you don't need a contingency plan. Just do it. And this community takes the idea of a plan B out of it because the love is seriously real. Like it's truly real. So I really encourage those who are in the chat or on the fence. You're bobbing and weaving. Don't bob and weave. Please don't. But what you should do is harass these beautiful guests, contact them, get a hold of them. They will help you. So with that, guys, you guys are amazing. That was awesome.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
How fun it was.